Cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So this morning I was thinking about this whole all the controversy with the rappers from Northern California, Southern California, the dissing, and now I saw this thing, and I honestly don't believe it, but I saw this thing. Somebody sent it to me. That some Northerners from Santa Rosa went and struck up in Lefty Gunplay's neighborhood. I mean, anybody could have wrote that, So I don't know. To me, it just seems weird, but it seems like in the rap world, there's a lot of hostility, right? There's a lot of back and forth, woofing hundreds of miles away, and so I wanted to talk about prison, the North and the South, the raza from Northern California, Southern California. Okay, so as we know, as has been heard within the California Department of Corrections, there's an end of hostilities, right? North and South aren't going at it, right? But I want to go back to before the end of hostilities. I want to make sure people understand what it was like for raza from Northern California and Southern California to be on the same yard before the end of hostilities. So let's go back to, because I was on a yard with them in New Folsom as well as Pelican Bay, right? Pelican Bay, I wasn't on that yard long. They had moved me from A yard to B yard. The Northerners were on A yard over there. But let's just talk about New Folsom, right? So the raza from Northern California were on the yard with us. There was probably, I don't know, maybe 40 of them on the yard. There's about 150 raza from Southern California there, right? And I hate to bust people's bubbles, but the Northern raza was on the yard right there for probably easily, while I was there, and before that they were there, but while I was there, easily a year. And I'm going to tell you how many incidents occurred between the North and the South during that time. One. See, people that have never been there and don't know, they think it's on. It's always on. No, it wasn't. So, and I'm going to let you know, I've done the video. I've told the story, but I'm going to tell it again. So there was a red light, right? There was nothing happening because that's when the Bulldogs and the Northerners were supposedly, trying to figure out their differences, right? And so, I've actually told the story of during that time, the Bulldogs rushed some Northerners in the weight pile. And we had just got the weights back. So when that happened, and it was understood, everybody, nothing to do with the cops, right? Everybody had agreed nothing goes down in the weight pile because they had just got the weights back. Sure enough, the Bulldogs don't care. They rushed the Northerners in the weight pile, and what the cops did is they took the Northerners' weight pile. Boom, there you go. They don't have weights no more. And I remember the leadership for the Southerners was told everybody, hey, stay on your toes, eh? These vatos might try to do something over the weights. They might try to come after our weights. If they do, it's going down. They came out and they approached the leadership and said, hey, just so you guys know, we're going to take some of the weights from the blacks. They have a big weight pile. We're supposedly cool with each other, so we're gonna go ahead and get some of their stuff, right? So the homies were like, okay, gracias. But amongst the homies were like, that don't even sound right, eh? That's their allies. That's who they kick it with, you know. But everybody be cool. And then next thing you know, the blacks surrounded the Northerners. I mean, a lot of blacks surrounded the Northern table. Myself, Pacas that you guys have heard a lot about in videos of mine. He said, I want 12 homies strapped up. Let's go right now. Of course, that's my Sally, and I was a knucklehead. I was right there by his side. We went down there, and basically it was just a show of force, you know, but we were all strapped and ready to go. And all the raza on the top of the yard, the Southerners, were all on standby. If it goes, come down, right? And I remember that at first the blacks were so intent on focusing on the Northerners, they didn't realize that we were on the track right behind them, though, standing there, posted. And like some of them started noticing, like, oh shit, and it like opened up, it parted like the seas, it parted to where my Sally could make eye contact with the Northerners, and they looked, and you could see in their eyes, they were like, oh shit. And my Sally was like, hey, is everything cool or what? And they were like, yeah, we got this. And my Sally said, well, you know what, we're gonna post up, Holmes, because I don't like the numbers. I don't like the way this looks. And that alleviated the problem, because then the blacks realized, like, oh shit, all of these Mexicans are willing to ride for this, right? And then they discussed, cooler heads prevailed on their end, and the black, they're friends, right? So they talked, and whatever happened, and then the leadership for the Southerners also approached the Northerners and said, hey, Holmes, you guys don't got to get into it with them. We'll allow you guys to use our weight pile, but they said only these dudes, the ones that they felt were still knuckleheads, that were like, they're not going to be allowed on the weight pile. They could figure out something else. So that's what happened, right? So there you go. That was not an incident between North and South. There was an incident where actually the South was willing to assist the North to make sure that nothing happened. Then later, there was a guy from Modesto, and he had been in Mule Creek. And in Mule Creek, that was during the time where there was a curfew, where you had a certain amount of time you had to get off, right? It happened in 94. And some Southerners had just landed. And this guy from Modesto, him and some other Northerners that needed to get off the yard as well, I guess, they moved on the Southerners. And so this dude comes, and apparently he didn't like that there was no tension between the South and the North. But as soon as he got there, people knew who he was. They were like, hey, that's that vato that was in Mule Creek. He hit so-and-so. Like, okay, keep an eye on him. And so that's what everybody was doing. They were keeping an eye on him. Well, one day he was apparently upset at one of his homeboys, one of the other Northerners, probably trying to manipulate him into getting off on Southerners. But he was overheard by Southerners saying, these dudes are a bunch of bitches. I had that one I was whacking. I had him screaming like a bitch. They ain't shit. They think they're hard. They act like they're hard. But once you start whacking them, he went into this whole thing, right? And there were Southerners on the track walking behind him within earshot that heard it. So they peeled back, went straight to the leadership. Hey, Holmes, Svato's saying this and this and that. So then he became a threat. And he got moved on. The Northerners after that, there was one on the on the yard crew. They were going to retaliate. And he got caught. He was on the yard crew. He got caught with a bag of knives, 6 knives. He was moving. So when that happened, the leadership for the Southerners told everybody, get ready, Holmes. We're going to jam these dudes up. Anything funny, we're getting off. They went down there, talked to the leadership for the North. Hey, your homeboy got caught with them pieces. If those were for us, let us know. And they swore up and down, nah, we're just moving some stuff around. And so when that discussion was done, the leadership for the South went over to the Bulldogs and told them, hey, check this out, Holmes. You guys are supposed to be at war with them, but you guys are sitting out here eating ice creams and drinking sodas, and so are they. So are you guys with them or against them? Because we can't tell. And the Bulldogs rushed the Northerners within, I think it was the next day. Next day or two, they rushed the Northerners, and all the Northerners were moved from B facility to C facility. All the Bulldogs in New Folsom were in B facility. All the Northerners were on C facility. But I tell that story to highlight the fact that one incident in probably over a year, right? And that was the case for most yards, unless it was a new yard. Like when High Desert jumped, the first killing that happened in High Desert was a Southerner killed a Northerner. There were skirmishes in Salinas Valley, but that was a newer prison. But for the most part, there wasn't war between North and South. We kept our distance. There was respect shown. Now and then there would be incidents, but it was very rare. I've said it before and I'll say it again. During my incarceration, there were more skirmishes between Southerners and whites than Southerners and Northerners. That's a fact. And that's because they're always on the yard together. The Northerners weren't always on the yard, but the whites were, and there was always interaction with dope and other things. And there'd be misunderstandings from time to time. Now, this gets me back to this whole rap hostility. Can we get an end to hostilities in rap? Man, like, can we stop that stuff? Can the raza start gaining some respect back? You know, a lot of people used to look at the raza as, hey, them dudes are very respectful, both sides. So people are very respectful, very rigid, very professional. But now you got dudes getting on social media and the mask is slipping, eh? It's a lot of guys that have never been around when there was alleged hostilities. And they think, oh, back then it was on. It was, it was this and it was that. And, now there's this end of hostility. Get it together. Ask some of your homeboys that really were doing shit, that really were on level 4s. Don't ask a level 2 that thinks he knows what time it was on a level 4. Don't ask that guy. That guy's going to have that liquor store drag and have you believing all kinds of shit. But ask somebody who was really there, really around him, and had respect for his adversaries. Ask people that were in the shoe back there when we were in the shoe and we were all sharing with each other. And we're conversing respectfully every day. Don't listen to these rappers who woof from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles away from both sides. They don't want to get their money. That's fine. They don't need to get it. There's going to be some Southerners and some Northerners that rap that are going to see the bigger picture and they're going to get that money. And let them vatos that want to be gangster rappers stay broke. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.